The lighting in this video is going to be terrible. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning on a rainy Sunday morning, and I'm not human before 10, so I make no promises about the level of intelligence in this video, but it's a book haul. The point is to show you all the pretty books and go, oh my god, I'm so excited for them! That was a little bit too sarcastic, but did I mention it's 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning? I've been on a book buying ban since Worldcon back in August, and the point of my book buying bans aren't to not buy things, it's to not buy a lot of books so that I will use my money for other things. So in the past couple of months I have backed a lot of Kickstarters, supported a lot of magazines, contributed to a lot of Patreons and things like that. And it was really great, but a little bit before Thanksgiving here in the US, which is the end of November, I noticed there was some really steep discounts on books on my book depository wish list, and I said, I think the book buying ban is over, I'm gonna go buy them books. And then I did. And then last week I went on a shopping trip to the local big city with my family who was in town, and I lucked out at both the independent bookstore and the used bookstore, to the point where I was like giddy from excitement from hitting the jackpot, and I'm pretty sure my family thought I was going to go through the roof with happiness or something, and they're like, calm down Rachel, it's just books. But you know, it's the little things in life that you need to appreciate. As is predictable for me, I mostly buy SF Masterworks, Fantasy Masterworks, and Penguin English Library editions from Book Depository, but I have 3 unpredictable wildcards for you. That's not actually that exciting, but I'm going to start with those first. I was on Twitter a little while ago and I noticed that Mark Jarrett's had put up a picture of this lovely thing, and I said I need that because it's We Who Are About To by Joanna Ross in this really colorful Penguin Worlds edition. There are like 4 other things in this series and all the covers are by La Boca. I don't know who La Boca is, but I like this. It's bold and colorful and there are rainbows and everything. Also, it's a pretty new edition of a Joanna Ross book. That never happened, so of course I had to get it. This is about a spaceship crew that is crash landed, stranded on a planet or something, and they decide that in order to immediately survive they have to procreate, and one of the women says, nope, not with my body. Joanna Ross is one of the most prominent feminist science fiction authors from the 60s and 70s, so this plot sounds a lot like her. I really want to read this as soon as possible. It's basically a novella because it's like 115 pages. I could knock it out in an hour or so, and I really should do that. Then the other 2 that I got are the first 2 books in Ian Sales's Apollo Quartet. I was gonna get book 3, but I couldn't tell what edition they were gonna send me, and these are the new covers. I think all of the books now have these covers, and I love them. They are designed by Kay Sales, who I assume is a relative of Ian Sales, and they are very stark and minimalist with lots of clean lines and bold colors, and I love them. The first book is Adrift on the Sea of Rains. It says this is a winner of the BSFA award and finalist for the Sidewise award, which I've heard of, but I don't know what that one's for. And the second one is The Eye with Which the Universe Beholds Itself. So I think that Sales likes some kind of complicated titles, you know? I've read the 4th book in this quartet, All That Outer Space Allows, and I really enjoyed it. And I think that all 4 books are like spec-fic retellings of the space race and the Apollo space mission from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and they're all kind of independent stories, so you can read them in any order you want to. I'm gonna go back and read the first 3 in order now. I will eventually get book 3. This video is going so well. I am just super like snarky and sarcastic this morning. I'm really sorry if that's not your thing right now. Then I bought the last 2 Jane Austen novels that I needed in the Penguin English Library editions. We have Mansfield Park, which is the only one I haven't read yet. I'm pretty sure it's about a little girl from the poor side of the family who's taken in by the rich relatives and grows up and probably falls in love with a guy who maybe doesn't love her back. I'm making this all up because I really don't know. Another one is Persuasion, which I read last month in November, which is about a spinster by Regency era standards who gets a second chance at love when the man she rejected 8 years ago comes back to town and he's rich and still eligible. I liked Persuasion despite expecting to not like it at all, and I have no idea what I'm gonna get out of Mansfield Park because it's the only Jane Austen adaptation that I've tried to watch and got so bored that I couldn't finish watching it. I'll read it anyway. Alright, back to speculative fiction. I got Avram Davidson's The Phoenix and the Mirror, one of the fantasy masterworks. This is about Virgil, the author of the Aeneid, and in this version, he's a mage. And he has to help Queen Cornelia get her kidnapped daughter back, using a magical artifact. And there's gonna be powers, prophecies, gods, and monsters, myths and legends, etc. This book is from 1966 or 1969. I can't tell. The copyright page is a little ambiguous. And the cover of this one is by Mark Oliver. I guess it's supposed to be a bird, like an eagle or a hawk or something, but whenever I see it from a distance, I always think of that, what is it, a portrait of Henry VIII or something? I don't know why, but I think this looks like a hat. Anyway, it's fantasy. Back in September, I read Waystation by Clifford D Simic, and a whole bunch of people came out of the woodwork to say, Rachel, you really need to read City, and I said, I will read City very soon, and I will because I bought a copy of it. Ta-da! On a far future Earth, mankind's achievements are immense. But nothing comes without a cost. Humanity is tired, its vigor all but gone. As the human race dwindles and declines, which of its greatest creations will inherit the earth, and which will claim the stars? I think it's about dogs. I'm just gonna leave it there. Oh yes, and the cover illustration is by Dominic Harmon, so... Wait, that's a spider. The Long Tomorrow by Leigh Brackett. I read one of Leigh Brackett's stories from the Women of Futures Past anthology by Christine Catherine Rush earlier this year, and I liked it, and I really wanted to read more by Brackett. This book, I think, is her best known work. It seems kind of post-apocalyptic, and it says, 2 generations after the nuclear holocaust, rumors persist about a secret desert hideaway where scientists work to understand the forbidden past, even if it means threatening the future. So, I'm gonna read that. And the illustration on the cover of this is by Christopher Gibbs, who does a lot of the like collage-y style stuff on the SF Masterworks. I really like this one. It isn't as busy as some of the others. It's very threatening looking, very like, you know, mushroom cloud, we're all gonna die. The last SF Masterwork that I got is China Mountain Zhang by Maureen McHugh. I've never heard anybody say that they've read this book or they know this author, so if you do, tell me if you liked it or not. I grabbed it because it's an SF Masterwork by a woman, and there aren't that many of them. I prioritize buying them. But it also, I believe it's one of the Tiptree Award winners, which I will be reading those winners sometime in 2017. I'll get around to it eventually. So the back of this says, after the Second Great Depression and the American Liberation War, the US has been left as a satellite state of China. Is that kind of Red Dawn-ish? In this strict world of communist orthodoxy, young New York construction engineer Zhang Zhongshan must find his way in a world that disapproves of both his cultural heritage and his sexual identity. Which sounds pretty interesting. The cover is by Sebastian Hugh, and I think it's quite clever. From a distance, it looks like just a shot of New York City, like maybe Times Square, I think that's the Empire State Building back there. But you look more closely, you can actually read the commercials and advertisements. Matilda and the Lion King are on Broadway. Got an ad for Prudential because we all need real estate. Not in New York City though. But there's a lot of stuff in Chinese as well, so I like that fusion. It's, if you look closely, you'll be surprised, so that's pretty cool. Let's move on to the 2 books I got at the independent bookstore. The first one was my impulse purchase because I don't know anything about it. It's Lightless by C.A. Higgins. It's the first in a trilogy because aren't they all? It's got a military spacecraft, possibly an AI, fugitive terrorists, etc. I grabbed it because I'm pretty sure it's science fiction by a woman, and this title keeps appearing in my recommendations on Goodreads and Amazon, so I'm gonna check it out now. And the one that I went gaga about is Invisible Planets, an anthology of contemporary Chinese SF in translation, edited and translated by Ken Liu, and I'm like, yes! Let's see, I think there are 2 stories by Hao Jingfang, yes, and 2 stories by Cixin Liu, as well as I think 4 other Chinese authors that I don't know their names. And then there are 3 essays at the end about Chinese science fiction. I really want to read this. I've really enjoyed a lot of the fiction that Ken Liu has translated, and I'm just glad that this anthology exists. Isn't it wonderful that we live in a time where this kind of thing could be a bestseller? Yeah. Oh yeah. Then I went to the used bookstore and I lost my mind because the first thing I saw was a book by Lavie Tidhar. I have never seen any of Tidhar's work on a library shelf or on a bookstore shelf, so when I walked in I was like, what? I had to get it. This is Camera Obscura. It's one of the Angry Robot books, so it has the file ender section. It's steampunk, alternate history, reptilian royalty, murder most foul, and the World's Fair. I think it's gonna be really fun. Then I found a fantasy masterwork. This is John James's Votan and Other novels, which are from the 60s. So it's actually an omnibus of 3 novels, Not for All the Gold in Ireland, Men Went to Catreath, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Votan. And it's about a Greek nobleman in the 2nd century AD in Germany who, while running away from the husband of the woman that he's sleeping with, encounters people who think that he's a Norse god, and he lets them believe this. Nothing about this could possibly go wrong. Next up, I have 3 large omnibuses, and they are very vibrantly colored. You may know what I'm talking about, because for some reason, this particular used bookstore had a whole boatload of SF Gateway omnibuses. And they look like this. They're really easy to find on the shelf. So I grabbed 3 of them. This is the Clifford D Simic one, which has Waystation, which I've already read, Time is the Simplest Thing, and A Choice of the Gods. I'm not going to say what the books are about because there are really no descriptions on it, and I don't know, but there you go, Clifford D Simic. The other 2 that I got are by women. They didn't have the Pat Cadigan one there, so maybe I'll get that for Christmas, but I picked up C.L. Moore. This contains Jewel of Joyery, Northwest of Earth, and Judgment Night. And the other one is Sheri S. Tepper, and this one is huge. It's really big. And it contains After Long Silence, Shadow's End, and Six Moon Dance. And last but not least, I got another big tome, The Big Book of Science Fiction, edited by Anne and Jeff VanderMeer. I've really wanted this book since I saw it announced, but it's really expensive at full price, like $35, and I grabbed it for $13. What a great deal. I'm really impressed by the table of contents of this. I was flipping through it going, this has all the big names and the big stories that you expect of an anthology that's supposed to be about like the science fiction greatest stories or something, but also has a really good helping of female authors and like foreign and international and translated stories too. So just really, really awesome. That's it for my really big book haul. I haven't had this many new books sitting around for a while. Oh my goodness, my unread shelf is basically buckling under the weight right now, but it's all good. If you have read any of these or you want to read them, please comment down below and let me know your thoughts, and I'll be back to talk to you again about things I've actually read in the very near future. And until then, bye.